Call for it, please. Lord, we thank you for this day and time that you have given us for doing your work. We pray, Lord, that you be with us tonight as we did the city's work. Pray, Lord, that you would be in it. Help us, Lord, that we can put you first and everything else fall into place. We give you the praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In your package, you have the minutes from the December 6th.
Second.
Second. Any discussion or corrections? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Yes, public hearing for rezoning the Greenfield subdivision. Anyone who wants to speak on that public hearing, on that issue, are free to do so now.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. I'm Jason Maddox at 607 Redwood Drive. I'd first like to say that my job requires me to attend public hearings regularly on this type of matter. Typically, I'm on the other side. And I understand how instances like this can invoke emotion, and you can see participants personally attack other participants, and I assure you that I have no desire to partake in anything like that. But I do want to express my opposition with this request, and I purchased my lot about 3 years ago, and in doing so, I took into consideration the restrictive covenants that were in place for the subdivision, and they're still in place now, and they specifically state that the lots are for the exclusive use of single-family dwellings. And I don't believe that is consistent with the request before you. So for that reason, I would ask for you not to approve the request.
Thank you, sir.
I'm David Williams. I'm at 1001 Laurelwood. I just wanted to express my opposition to the rezoning as well, and it's just that I bought the first lot out there, and I think it was 16 years ago. I was told we were going to be in a residential neighborhood that had 3 phases. What's developed now is phase 1, and I invested my money, bought the lot, built the home that I built, along with the other people that did as well. And you know, we did that. In doing so, we believe we were investing into a residential neighborhood and not a business district. So it's for that reason that I'm opposed to this.
Thank you.
My name is Chad Pritchett. I'm at 1202 Laurelwood. I would also like to express my opposition for reasons already stated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Laurie McAtee. I live at 1006 Laurelwood Drive. I would also like to express my opposition. I too bought the lot with the intention of single-family dwellings, and I'd like to keep it that way. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak?
If there are no more opposition, I'd like to address it. I'm David Dalton, 1106 Juniper Cove. I'm here representing Jones Housing. I am also a resident of Greenfield subdivision. I apologize, I'm not in the best voice this evening. I explained to you all last meeting what we're going to do, but if you'll bear with me, I'd like to explain to my neighbors what we have in mind. As you know, I think everyone is aware, the piece of property we're discussing, it runs up against the railroad right-of-way on the far west side of our subdivision. It is, as far as measurements go, it is 600 feet away from my lot. My lot is closest to any of them. I believe the next one is 900, which is yours, Mr. Maddox. The reason we came up, we decided on, or we accepted Mr. Montgomery's offer is, when we developed this lot 20 years ago, you were one of the first, David, there was no jail there. That was the UARCO building. After we began development, the county purchased the land to use as a jail. It's my opinion that it's difficult enough to sell property in view of a factory. It's extremely difficult to sell property when you can look out and you can see the prisoners in the exercise yard. Looked at a number of things. We considered giving land to the city for a park. At the time, the city had no financial means of supporting a park out there, and quite frankly, I don't really think that there was a need for a park there. It also had the disadvantage that we've created a lot of excess traffic. We considered, I think the term was a berm, a large dirt embankment that we could plant with trees and greenery, sort of a hedgerow. Beyond the fact that it's extremely expensive to do so, it would have changed the water runoff for that entire part of town. So obviously, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be turning my back. So obviously that was not an acceptable solution. We considered pecan grove. Thought that might be aesthetically more pleasing. Obviously it would be something that we could never develop that land if you had pecan trees on it, but it would produce income. We decided, you know what, not that many people have expertise in that. Requires a lot of heavy machinery coming and going, and really was just not financially viable. So we had come to the realization that 20 years in, we're probably never, ever, ever going to be able to sell lots out there. So those of us who are out there for the rest of eternity, we have a nice view of the jail. And some of you all can't really see the jail from your homes, but I can look out, I can watch, while I'm watching TV, I can look out my window and I can see the prisoners in the yard. And that is not a comfortable feeling. Somehow, some way, I would like to shield us from that view. That view is personally offensive to me. I would like to shield us from that view. Mr. Montgomery came to us, he explained what he wanted to do. As I said, it was 600 feet away from my lot, 900 feet away from the next closest. There can be no traffic through our neighborhood, it all comes in off the bypass. It's if you looked at it, if you've seen his operations in other towns, they're well maintained. You know, it's basically it's pretty low traffic business to begin with. The fact that there is no access from our neighborhood means we never see it. Our plan has always been, and it's in our agreement, to split the cost of shielding it with trees similar to what we have done up on the bypass. If this is objectionable to you all, you know, I really wish I'd known this a couple weeks ago. We could have discussed it and had all this out, but that's that. If this is objectionable to you all, I would really like to hear some ideas as to how we're going to get rid of the view of the jail. We can't ask the county to move. They're there for the long term. You know, it's not like somebody's going to come and build $1 million homes up against the jail to give you all a nice view. It's not going to happen. So I understand your objections. I have a letter from a certified appraiser, actually Mr. John Wheeler. He said he went through all our plans. He says this will not have an effect on property values. He said, in fact, it may help marketability. I understand there's a difference between property value and marketability. One being just the financial value and the other being the ability to sell property out there. So you've got, if this is not satisfactory to you all, then please, we would like to hear some other solutions, because after 20 years, we're out of solutions. And, well, just to put it bluntly, development of property is not cheap. And, money doesn't grow on trees. Maybe it doesn't. And so, please, in the future, feel free to call me. Call me, you know where I am. I'm at the bank if you can't find me. You know my brother, you know Tina. You got ideas, let us know. We want to sell houses out there. We want to sell nice houses. Remember, I've got a stake in this. I have a personal financial stake in this as well, my home. So, and please, help us out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, could I say one more thing? I'm probably the only one that can say this, but I grew up on 409 North Bypass, which is the closest lot adjacent to this subdivision. I had that view of UARCO my whole life. I'm 42 years old. I saw it. To me, when I drive by to the west of it, it looks the same today as it did back then. I don't see prisoners out there, and maybe someone can tell me what year that became a jail, but most of these homes were constructed after it became a jail, I believe. I can't say that with certainty, but I know mine was constructed in 2001. Jason just built his 3 years ago? 2 years ago? So just keep that in mind. The view does not bother me. It's not a personal thing. I would be against it if my mother were trying to develop this way. It's just the way it is. So I just want to express my objection that way.
Thank you. Someone else?
My name's Jeff Montgomery. I'm wanting to put in the facility. Been working with Johnny for the last few months trying to make it happen. I'm from Crothersville. I've been putting in properties there for about 20 years. My properties are nice. I mean, we go the extra mile to do it. We're above and beyond. Not been a lot going on in Crothersville for 20 years, as everybody I'm sure knows. And if you drive down the road, there's a lot of properties owned by me. And they're nice looking. They're something that you want to drive by. The facility we have in mind here, fenced in, well lit, security cameras, climate controlled units, high dollar units. We're trying to attract the more pricier folks to be in them and not the more low clientele. We're going to have the uppity, on a price range to keep it nice place. The facility that we put in, if we can put it in there, it will be nicer than any facility around here. Anybody can look at any of the properties that I have in Crothersville and check them out. I've even got the properties over in Kennett. When I come in, I clean stuff up, I make it look good. We flip houses, they're glad to see us. I mean, they want to see what we do. For instance, we just did the wishy-washy car wash here in town. Y'all know what it looked like. Wasn't nothing there. We went through, without all the equipment, repainted it, put new signs up. We worked the market pretty hard. Gave away a bunch of free car washes. We gave away, I think, 1,500 free car washes to all the school teachers. I mean, we get involved with the community. We work with the community. We think it's a good location for us, and we think that once it got up, that everybody would enjoy driving by it every day. But that's all I got. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone else?
Okay, what the council will do now is vote on this in 2 weeks. There's a 10-day period after this that anyone can file written objections to the proposed rezoning with the clerk's office. If 20% of the landowners within 185 feet of the proposed rezoning object, then it would require a supermajority of 2/3 instead of a simple majority. But vote would be in 2 weeks. There's 10 days to file written objections.
The 185 feet, is that of the property itself, or
Yes.
is there individual lots?
The property itself, the property that is proposed to be rezoned.
So Mr. Dalton said his is 600 feet,
Yes.
he wouldn't qualify.
Well, anybody can object. I mean, there's nothing to stop anybody from objecting. But it's, when it goes into the calculations as to what will require a supermajority vote, that's when you get into the 20% of the land within 185 feet of the boundaries of the property to be rezoned. Anybody can object. And just because you don't own property within 185 feet of the proposed rezoning, you still have the right to object.
That's what I was trying to clarify.
So do we need to, those of us who spoke, do we need to write a written objection, or do we need, or are we on record as a?
You would have to file a written objection.
Any other questions or comments on this topic? No, we'll close the hearing. Move into committee reports. Public safety.
On public safety at this time, I do not believe I have anything for public. Thank you all, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Street committee.
I don't know if we can talk before such a small crowd. Maybe used to a big crowd, so. The way it is, my understanding at this point is that the grant, our application for a grant is out of contention at the present time. And in order to keep us from damaging our chances in the future, and to make sure we can apply for future grants, I do not want to make a motion tonight, because I want to leave it to where we have our best opportunity in the future to get something to help resolve our problems. But my understanding at this point is that the grant, we will not be awarded a grant for this project. And so I would like to leave it at that, so that, like I said, I'd like to be able to get something in the future to help our problems.
Very good.
Otherwise, street committee met, and we are quite aggressively going to go after other plans for these type of projects. We are going to look for transportation methods, the whole works. We're going to try to come up with any type of grant we can to get improve our situation in Kennett. So that has not changed. I certainly appreciate all the hard work that Mr. Carter's done on this, and I know it was a good grant. We had compliments on it, but we know that it is out of contention at this point. So
do we know when we might be considered again?
when we apply. I mean,
Just when we apply?
yeah, when we apply. That's what we're trying to avoid, is having damaged ourselves to where we're not eligible, or they frown upon any application we put in. And so that's why the purpose of leaving it as it is. That's all I have.
I'd like to thank Bill and the committee and Randy for the hard work they put in on this. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. But I would also like to ask them in the future to take a long, hard look at this. If there's any alternate solutions, research and bring them back to the council. ultimately, and I'll say this, and I'm gonna survive whether it's a walking trail or not a walking trail personally, but professionally, I would like to see our town tied together better. I think we need to come together as a community, and we need to get behind different projects like this and look at the big picture. If we're gonna make this community survive and grow, some of us have to lay aside our personal agendas and let's look at what's best for Kennett. That's really what, I know this group is setting up here, I know what their desires and hopes are for the future, so we'll let it go at that. Again, thanks for the long, hard work that you put in on this thing.
I'd just like to thank everybody for getting involved. It's not every time that everybody gets involved, and it seemed like it kind of drew out everybody. And now then, hopefully, the people know a little bit more of what we have. I've been educated through this a lot. Hopefully, everybody else has too. When an issue comes up, be involved. That's how you get things done. You know, I'm sorry, Nick.
No, I'm good. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I'm good.
So,
I have a question. Who decided to withdraw the grant?
it's not withdrawn, we just didn't make the cut. Which leaves Kennett in a better position than had we
The
withdrawn it.
grant was submitted as is?
Yes.
Yes. There's only a select few, a lot of grants.
I'm
applications
aware of
went
that,
in,
I
only a few
thought
get
that's,
selected.
I'm
At
aware
this
of that.
stage, we weren't selected,
Okay, that's
so. And again, trying to avoid those black marks because those are people up there that's making these decisions and doing their homework. And the last minute you flush all their homework down the commode, sometimes they don't view you favorably in the future. And we hope that they appreciate where we've come from, and the door's still open in the future if we decide to make an application. Right, next, Mr. Williams, Finance Committee.
Okay, we still got major issues with the finance. Under general revenue income, which is the cigarette tax, court fees, franchise cables, and so on, we had projected a income at this point of $866,000. We are approximately at half of that, at $425,000. You see on your sheet on your financial, so that's a lot of money. On the various sales tax, the capital improvement tax for the year is down $18,000. For transportation tax is down $32,000. The general sales tax number 2 is down $65,000. Kennett sales tax, the number 1, I guess, is a little over $8,000.